Hi, my name is Keisha Brock. I'm Vice President of Student Affairs and Institutional Advancement here at Rio Salado College. And I wanted to start off with a visual. This sort of describes my path, the road I took actually to arrive here. And you can see it's very windy. It was definitely not a straight path by any way, shape, or form. And that happens with a lot of student affairs professionals because many people don't say at 5 years old, I'm going to grow up and be a vice president of student affairs. Many student affairs professionals fall into the profession, and I definitely am one of those. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the experiences that prepared me for this role. And there's quite a diverse grouping. Started my career at McDonald's. And one thing I learned at McDonald's is if there's time to lean, there's time to clean. These are little tidbits of wisdom you learn along the way. I also worked in a fish cannery in Cordova, Alaska. Lots I learned there, let me tell you. First and foremost, that I need a college degree. I also was a waitress at the Old Faithful Inn in Yellowstone National Park. A lift operator at Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I lived in Cuernavaca, Mexico for 4 months. Granada, Spain for a year. Walked a 550-mile pilgrimage to find myself. And before working at Rio Salado College, getting my first job, I was working as a cashier and in the produce section of a small grocery store called Gentle Strength Cooperative. So along the way, I had no ideas. I was doing this very diverse grouping of jobs, professions, that I would end up in higher education. So just to give you a little bit about my educational background, I have a Bachelor's of Art in Spanish from Northern Arizona University, and that is one of the key things that actually got me into higher education, and I'll explain that just a little bit more in a second. And then a Master's of Arts in Higher Ed Leadership from Northern Arizona University. I also earned a postmaster's cert in enrollment management when I gained responsibility for that area here at the college. And I am trugging along, oh my gosh, difficult, to complete my PhD in leadership and for higher education at Capella University. And my target date, if everything goes well, is December 2012. December of this year, I hope. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So the way I stumbled into higher education is I had some mentors along the way who worked for the Maricopa Community Colleges, professors that I had taken courses from at Glendale Community College. I actually took my first college course in Maricopa at Phoenix College and ended up finishing the equivalent of an associate's degree, although I never applied for the associate's degree, but I think I had 70-something hours or credits. And a couple of people that worked at Glendale, a couple of the faculty members took me under their wing, and we formed a relationship, a friendship. And when this job posting, after I got back from Spain, a job posting became available at Rio Salado College for a bilingual Spanish-English academic advisor. And they sent it to me and said, we think you should apply for this. I would never have even looked for it or known about, such a position. So I went ahead and did my resume and my cover letter, and I applied and got an interview. Did okay in that interview because I got a second interview. Did okay in that interview because then I got a third interview over the phone in Spanish, which was quite challenging. But I must have done okay there as well because I did get the position as the bilingual advisor. And the rest of my career really is, I think, being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude and the right skill set. Because I started at Rio Salado College right at the beginning of this incredible growth period. You can see 97, we were just getting into the online arena. And at that time, the Student Affairs Division was tiny. I mean, I think you could call it more of a department than a division. There wasn't a vice president, there wasn't a dean, there was an associate dean. I think the team of advisors, testing, tutoring, and disability was less than 20 people. We now have a division that's over 200 people large, including institutional advancement. It's very, very large. So I took on a number of roles, and when Dr. Thor left the college in 2010, the Dr. Bustamante was at that time Vice President of Community Development and Student Affairs. So I was appointed interim Vice President as he was interim President, and then went through the process, interviewed, and became the Vice President of the college. And I love it. So what do student affairs professionals do? Essentially, we're focused on providing access to higher education. We assist prospective and continuing students through the admissions and the enrollment process. So that's like the student services piece. We inform students of their rights and responsibilities and maintain compliance with Title IX, with Title IV, a lot of these federal regulations that institutions need to adhere to operate. We assist in maintaining optimal enrollment, and the Student Affairs Division, we're responsible for the development and the implementation of the Student Enrollment Management Plan, the Strategic Enrollment Management Plan. And we also support students toward the completion of their educational goals, whatever those goals may be, degree, certificate, taking a couple of courses. So that's what the student affairs professionals do. The division is made up of these areas. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I did want to point out a couple that I think are unique to Rio Salado College. The area of judicial affairs and compliance, this is something new that the compliance piece isn't new, but the judicial affairs division is. And partially we're opening that now because we're opening, as you know, multiple sites throughout the valley. We'll have 8 sites. And with new locations come new opportunities and new challenges. A lot of what we've done in the past has been online, and so we've had less issue with student conduct and some of those things that come about when you have people in close proximity together. So we're putting an Office of Judicial Affairs in place to handle those issues. Also, not many colleges and universities group institutional advancement or the marketing area under student affairs. Although it makes perfect sense because really institutional advancement is responsible for the messaging and the branding. So they help us get students and communicate with students to keep them throughout their life as they're lifelong learners. So my leadership team is made up of the following people. You probably have seen many of these individuals around the college. If not, I'm sure you'll run into them at some point. And because I'm a student affairs professional and my primary focus is the student, I felt that I needed to tell you just a little bit about our students, just a bit. So Rio Salado College serves a very diverse group of students. We have 2 primary populations of online students. We have 43,000 online learners, which is very large. We're the largest public community college in the nation, and also the fastest growing community college in the nation. We have done a lot of work looking at our student population recently and have really broken them down into 2 categories. We have our entirely online learners, which EduVentures defines as students who are earning about 80% or more of their program online. So they're not getting any sort of in-person support. We then have our supplemental students, which we feel is about another 20,000 students. And those are students who are enrolled at one of the other Maricopa colleges or who are enrolled at ASU. And they're coming to us because of our flexibility. They're supplementing a program of study at a traditional face-to-face institution with our online courses. We also have a number of community programs and partnerships we're developing at the locations. We're reaching out into the community to serve special need populations. Excuse me. We also have our educational service partnerships, so the ESP, our training programs that go into the airlines and other businesses. We have dual enrollment, military student population, and incarcerated students. Student affairs touches all of these student populations in one way or another. So innovation is one of the foundational elements of our culture here at Rio Salado College. So of course, in the Division of Student Affairs and Institutional Advancement, we have worked to be innovative in how we deliver our services and our programs. One of the things we've done is support 48 semesters and 48 course starts through our block calendar. And the reason that's important to differentiate is the supplemental students take advantage of our 48 course start dates. But the program seekers take advantage of 48 times a year that they can begin a program of study, but they still follow a semester for financial aid purposes, et cetera, because we're part of a 10-college district. And so we have to fit within the framework of that as well to make sure that we're contributing to the One Maricopa, the seamless student experience, and all of those other initiatives. We also design our services and programs to be convenient, entirely online, and flexible, because we know our online learners require that flexibility. Some of the recent things we've done to support or to innovate, actually one is not even that recent, but we really have created some innovative tools to support degree completion, and one is our virtual student union, the Rio Lounge. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely log in and check it out. We essentially, for our online learners, created, if you can visualize walking into a student union at a university, we developed this online so students can chat, they can sell things like on a bulletin board, they can engage with other learners about topics, read articles, etc. We also have advising webinars that we've just released for our online students, an electronic student file system, which is an online advising system, so that the student can log in anytime, any place to access their academic check sheet. And we have a customer relation management program, which helps us reach out to students based on certain data points. So how do we do all this? First and foremost, and I'm sure the other vice presidents who have spoken with you today mentioned the systems approach. If not, I'm sure you've heard it in your training or you will hear it. We rely heavily on the systems approach. We also have integrated systems and processes. We try to eliminate as much red tape as possible. We design all of our programs and services to be scalable and student-centered, and we focus on relentless improvement. And to that point, we are in the process of a major transformation. And by the fall of this next year, we will have new services and programs in place. And that's as we transform our focus on access, which we feel as an institution we have access down. We're now going to really be putting a lot of effort into helping students complete degrees and certificates. So that's going to involve the implementation of some new programs, some mandatory programs like advising and orientation, and so we're really excited to take this on. So it sometimes feels like this, but this is good because roller coasters are exciting, they're fun, a little scary sometimes, but I don't know about you, I always try and get back on. You know, if I'm afraid of a roller coaster, if it scared the out of me, I ride it again just to challenge myself. So I think that's a lot of what we do in student affairs with managing the 48 starts and the very diverse student group we have. It's sometimes like a roller coaster, but it's a lot of fun. Thank you. See you around the college, and are there questions? All right.
Welcome. I've been at Rio Salado for almost 15 years. I see some familiar faces. I see some very unfamiliar faces. And for those of you who came from the outside to Rio Salado, there I go again. Welcome to Rio. For those of you who came from another Maricopa college, thank you for seeing the light and coming to Rio Salado College. We hope that you have already begun to feel like a member of the team at Rio, because we are one big happy team, one big happy family. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my background and the areas that I supervise here at Rio Salado College. I have 30 years experience in higher education. I started out at a little tiny community college. Michael knows where it's at. Eastern Arizona College down in southeastern Arizona. And like I said, I've been at Rio for almost 15 years. So half of my career has been here at Rio. And it has been very exciting, and I enjoy it very much. On the slide are the areas in which I'm responsible for. There's the budget, not very important. Budget and cafe, the business office, maintenance and operations, college safety, employee services, which includes staff development, the Rio Way, wellness, and so on. I'm also in charge of the facilities. I make sure that the lights work, the temperature is correct, and that we have a place to sit. And then last but not least, sustainability. Rio is committed to sustainability, and we try in every way to decrease the footprint that we have for carbon. Let me go on to the next slide, if I might. I want to give you a little bit of information. You heard Dr. Bustamante talk a little bit about some of the finances at Rio. Last year, our FTSE grew by over 18%, and we were listed as the fastest growing community college for colleges with 10,000 students or more, the fastest growing college in the United States. Our budget is just slightly over $62 million, and you can see the chart there how our operating budget has gone up in relation to our enrollments. You might go to the next slide. Cost per FTSE. Who can tell me what FTSE is? And it's not what we play under the table. Yes?
Full-time student equivalent.
Okay, it's how we measure our enrollments. We may have 70,000 students, but those 70,000 students equate to approximately 16,000 full-time student equivalents. So our cost to educate a full-time student is slightly over $6,500. And you say, whoa, that's a lot of money. But that's 27% lower than our sister colleges here in Maricopa, and as Dr. Bustamante pointed out, 48% lower than a comparable institution across the country. The important thing that I want you to recognize from this slide, forget all the little numbers up at the top, but if you look at those bars, you see a blue bar and you see a red bar. The blue bar represents how much contribution Rio Salado College makes to the growth of the Maricopa district. So you can see in the year 2009-2010, Rio contributed 49% of the growth of the net assets of the Maricopa district. Now wait a minute, there are 10 colleges, but Rio contributed 49%. That's because of having high enrollments in relation to the cost per FTSE that I mentioned in the previous slide. Some of the new sites that we have coming online. Some of you may be at those sites, some of you may not. I won't go through all of them, but there's a number of them that we have there, and a lot more coming online in the near future. The next slide is just some pictures, if the pictures will come up, of our sites. One at Northern, one at downtown Phoenix, that's the ALC, and one that we have not occupied yet on Southern and Price in East Tempe. And then we're working on another community. We have one in Surprise, and we're working on one in Queen Creek. Sustainability. Rio received a silver rating from STARS, which is a way of measuring how efficient a college is in their sustainability efforts. Look at the carbon footprint that we generate. 0.7 metric tons compared to the average two-year college of 2.77 metric tons per student. So we're doing very well. And then last but not least, each of you as new employees have responsibilities, not just to work at Rio Salado College, but to do so in an ethical and in an honest and a forthright manner, so that the resources that the public entrusts us with are spent appropriately and effectively. Each one of those, do they get a handout of this at all?
No, but we can send it to them electronically.
Okay, there's a number of links there that you probably ought to be familiar with. Conflict of interest, the Blue Book, just to name a few. Enrollment irregularities, if you handle cash handling. Become familiar with those because you will be responsible to comply with what's in those regulations. With that, I welcome you to Rio Salado College, and I hope you enjoy being a member of our team. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Rio. If you've been here more than 3 days, you probably figured out this is a pretty non-traditional place. Everything about Rio is slightly different, including our Division of Public Service. And if you, for some reason, accidentally push 4 on the elevator, you'll end up in a place that looks very different from the rest of the college. But rest assured, It's very much a part of Rio Salado, and we'll show you why in just a second here. Next slide, please. This is the quick vital signs of this division. 70 employees, so you're bound to run into someone like Tracy anytime you turn around. Tracy is our digital media editor, works with our journalists to make sure that what goes on the air also has a life in various versions, including our website. 500 people volunteer to work with our division in the course of a year, and that includes things like our radio reading service and something that you may have partaken of, the Great Arizona Beer Festival. You see, this is an organization that receives virtually minimal funding from the district. It has to raise its own money itself. So the radio stations make their money through wine auctions and tequila events, and the radio reading service makes its money through beer festivals in Flagstaff and Tempe and to our people in Tucson. So between beer, wine, and tequila, we keep public service growing here in Rio Salado. Locations, back up one more, please, yes. This is the part that's probably the shocker, is that in the course of 1 week, 400,000 different people use one of our services. And that's in addition to all the people who come to take classes at Rio Salado. 400,000 unduplicated users listening to one of our stations, watching our television station, or listening to the radio reading service. We're spread out. The fourth floor tower we've mentioned. We have MCTV, we'll talk about that in a second, at Scottsdale Community College. We are just about to open Spot 127 on West Thomas and 37th Avenue next to the Rio Salado facility next door. And we have bureaus with full-time Rio Salado staff in San Antonio, Las Cruces, Tucson, Flagstaff, and in Las Vegas. We'll talk about that in a second. Next slide, please. Let's do this in order of age. KJZZ started on the air in 1951, predates the college. It broadcast its initial program service on Tuesdays and Thursdays afternoons only as a experimental project of the physics department of Phoenix College. From there, it's grown to the point where today it plays tag between number 1 and number 2 out of the 40 stations in this market. That includes all the radio stations in the Phoenix market. When it comes to news, in the last year, the station has grown to the #1 news station of all radio news stations in this market. That's both in morning and afternoon drive time. It also carries a rather distinguished jazz service in the evening and is involved in promoting jazz events throughout the valley. Next slide, please. Sun Sounds of Arizona. This is probably the radio station you've never heard of, but it exists and it's a lifesaver for many people. This is a radio reading service that is on the web, it's on HD radio, and if you are visually disabled, you can receive at no charge a special radio. It piggybacks on our regular radio signals. But it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service that's designed for people who have lost their vision or are print disabled. And you say, well, gee, aren't there other tools for that these days? And the answer is yes. But if you're born visually disabled, you've got some tremendous things going for you. You learn Braille, you learn how to use a guide dog, you learn how to use JAWS, a computer program that reads screens for you. But the problem we're having in society is that we are currently undergoing an epidemic of adult onset diabetes in this country. And one of the early symptoms of adult onset diabetes is blindness. The eyes are one of the first organs to be shut down in that process. So what happens is that it tends to hit people in their 60s when they're probably not going to learn Braille. They may not be able to use JAWS. They may not be able to learn new software, and they're going through major life changes. This is the lifesaver. Cocktail conversation for you. The two things that are most popular on that 24/7 service, obituaries and the Wednesday grocery circulars, because even the computer programs can't really tell you easily what bananas are selling for at Albertsons. 500 volunteers. If you'd like to read for us, stop up on the 4th floor. We could use readers, both in English and Spanish. KBOC. Been on the air since 1993. Our classical radio service serves almost 200,000 people each week. It is in partnership with Arizona State University and 24/7 classical music. supported by listeners. MCTV. This is Maricopa Television. It is a district-wide service housed administratively in our college. If you see anything on channel 115, 116, or you want to watch what's going on at a governing board meeting, MCTV is the place to go. Last but not least, this is a rather institutional-looking building today. Our college just acquired it. It was formerly the Phoenix Union School District Cyber High School that was opened a few years ago. They closed it last year, and thanks to the good work of our president and our administration, we secured it for something called Spot 127. You want to close this and open the first PDF, please? Or, yeah, that one right there. And if you click on it, this is not your typical radio station activity. This is a youth media center. If it was up to me and my creativity, we'd call it the KJZZ Youth Media Center, but that wouldn't register too well. We tested this with young people. Spot 127 is going to be a youth center, after school, weekends, nights, holidays, summers, for young people between the ages of 14 and 24, located right next to the Rio Salado Thomas facility. As you know, this is in a very tough area of town. And our goal is to turn the world of media on its side, because this is not a place where people think they're going to go to Harvard or Yale or even ASU. They're worried about getting out of high school and where their next meal is going to come from. This is a place where you'll be able to go, and if you complete the 6 months of training, we'll put you on, give you minimum wage, give you an income even at 14. And more importantly, when you come home from school, you can go directly to the youth center and be involved in our food journalism program. That's a key way of saying cooking, because it's hard to do journalism on an empty stomach. This operation, when fully functional roughly this spring, about the time that Thomas Center comes online, if you'll open the next one, remember that institutional building, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to, how would you say, give it some bling. And as a result, this will be a place where young people who are interested in media, even if they're in culinary arts or diesel mechanics, will know that there's a safe place to go where they can be part of the next generation of media professionals or media savvy people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Ed Kelty. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives in the CIO, or I run the IS department. If you haven't been able to tell yet, most of the folks that have been here at Rio for a while, we get along really well, we work really well. Every one of the VPs, and I'm sure every one of your trainers has already indicated it's a good place to work. I would just like to reiterate that. I have been here for about 23 or 4 years, and I've been in the Maricopa District since 1983. So I enjoy working here. I enjoy helping people find ways and solutions to their techie kinds of problems, as well as some other things. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about information services, a little bit about myself. And we were asked to tie this all into learning, partnering, and innovating, which are some of our, thank you, strategic values and such inside our strategic plan. And our culture. If you haven't seen our culture page, I don't think it's listed in this room, is it?
They'll see it on the My Culture.
So one of the things that I help oversee, I oversee the Information Services Department, which is all about technology. Anyone use a phone here yet? Okay, so you probably have all touched something that one of my guys has, tried to take care of for you. Operational excellence. Are any of the OpEx folks in this room? One. Our operational excellence team, 2, 3 in the back. They take care of process improvement. And so I'll tell you a little bit about that. And I also coordinate the strategic planning initiatives here at Rio, and I'll tell you a little bit how that might affect you over the next year. So just an example, I started in 1989, and for the first 5 years or so, I was the only tech guy here at Rio. That was it. And we were in a building that probably would fit in this conference center. And so Rio has grown a lot, and we've done that by working with other institutions and partnering and really innovating on some of the different things that we do here for our distance learning programs, for our ABGED, and so on. A few things that IS does, just so you all know, and we're here to take care of all of you, so if you ever have a techie problem, don't hesitate to call us, or IM, or chat, or walk right into the 5th floor. Your telephones, your computers, your video systems, audio conferencing. I don't know if Victoria shot that video that you saw of Dr. Bustamante, but we shoot video, we stream it, they're shooting us today. It's fun to be up here getting our video shot. I'm sure that she's going to do a lot of editing on this particular presentation. But all our security systems and servers, if you guys ever work from home, did you know that you can sit at any computer and telephone at any of Rio's locations, and it works the same no matter where you are? You can log into the phone, you can log into the computer, people can get their calls. You'd be sitting at home. I had a great morning a few years ago. I was sitting at home, one of the, about 10 years ago now, the VPs called, and they said, hey, Ed, I need some help. I just gotten out of the shower. I picked up my phone at home. Oh, how's it going? Yeah, okay, be there about 30 minutes, okay? Finished getting ready, went in the office. No one could tell. If technology works, it's transparent. I'll never hear from any of you when things are going great. And that's a good thing, right? If everything's running well and all your technology is doing what it's supposed to. Our help desk team takes over 50 to 60,000 calls a year from students, staff, and faculty. So again, they're 24/7. So if you ever again have a techie problem you need help with, anyone know the help desk number? 78 what? 78600 actually.
Yeah, 8600.
8600, and that number has been in place since 1995. It hasn't changed. We also have, and this might be useful for some of you folks if you're ever working on the evenings or weekends, that number rolls over to a 24/7. So if you need help, there's another outsourced group that helps us. The answer is 24/7, and we have an emergency hotline. Anyone have any idea what the emergency hotline is here? What's our main phone number? 517. Oh, 517-8000. Thank you. Something like you said. 517-8888. All eights. That's the emergency hotline in IS. It's for system kinds of emergencies. Or had I needed other help, Kathy, here, I might have called that number and got someone down here quick, right? Not to underestimate your techie, abilities right there, but that number is staffed 24/7 as well. So if you call that number and you're having a problem at a location because a whole facility's down, or you have a whole class of students that can't have something happening, or you find out, God forbid, that our main Rio Learn is down, that actually goes to a live human being after hours. And the managers and I staff that. And so I take December, January, so if you call before the end of this month, 2 in the morning, I'll be going, hello, and I'll be taking care of your call. So I wanted to give you a little, just a reality check on our history. I had a whole bunch of other things when they gave me a little more time, but let's see if...
Welcome to Rio Salado.
This is what Rio was. This was our high tech when I first started working here.
Rio Salado Community
Yeah, I used to have a little bit longer hair too. But when I got married, my wife said, mullet gone. And I'm like, oh, come on. But what's fun about this is we made this back, I think, around 90.
What does the computer lab provide?
Listen.
Certified computer instructors, well-trained lab assistants, state-of-the-art equipment, current popular application software, and dedicated and skilled computer supervisors and manager.
Oh, the memories, right? So over the years, we also did some other things, and we have the learning, partnering, and innovation. We learned, or I should say, I learned that most folks around Rio, for some reason, weren't Trekkies, and that was not my best IS webpage. So that went, and so we had a lot of different changes over time. Innovation. Do you guys know that we built Rio Learn from scratch in partnership with Microsoft and Dell in 2004? And so we have our own LMS system. It costs almost nothing to run. It can support well over 100,000 students a semester in a courses. Do you know what version of Rio Learn we're working on right now? 8. We have a whole team of folks from across the faculty and staff working on Rio Learn 8 right now. So just a quick overview of the structure of our department. There are 4 primary teams that focus on taking care of business in Rio. For our information services. One's a technical support team. They're the folks you're going to talk to and see most. They'll come to your desk if you have a phone problem, a computer problem. If you call the help desk, they're the ones who are going to answer. They take care of all the end user kinds of support. We have a security team and a server team. They take care of all the servers and infrastructure, your My Documents folder where all that stuff is saved. All of that's taken care of by the networking and security team. Let me make a little, I always throw this out during these presentations. Don't ever save anything if you don't have to on your desktop. If your computer dies, kiss everything goodbye. If you save it in your My Documents folder, backed up every night. So I just toss it out there for the new folks that maybe are not familiar with some of our systems. We have an applications development team. They take care of all the applications that are web-based for all the different departments in the college. Anyone want to guess how many different applications we currently have? A little over 50. Rio Learn is one. Help Desk is one. Anyone from Student Enrollment Services here? Have you used ESF yet? ESF is another electronic student filing system. That's another app that we developed. One of the things we do with our users around this college is we do partner with them, and we do our best to help them automate their redundant jobs. Not only redundant what you do, but if you're having to, fill out the same form 17 times, how about you just fill out the one little piece that's different for the students or your job? And so a lot of that is what we take care of in our applications team. And last but not least is our project management office. The project management office, or project management team, I sometimes call them, actually coordinate all the different projects going around the college to keep them on task, on time, and on budget. And we're floating about 45 to 50 projects right now, and the majority of them are not information services projects. Only about a third are techie. The rest are grants, new facility build-outs. I think we even help the employee services department with some new employee orientation training and how we sequence the whole thing out and keep everything on task. The graduation. Anyone here participate in real graduation or going to? Do you know? So we have a whole process now to help with that, because do you know how many moving parts? I didn't know how many moving parts there are in our graduation. It's massive. All sequenced out by the project management office. So, one thing that may be a little different if you're from another college that Rio has for our information services division is one department. If the perfect world for me ever works, you'll never see two of my guys doing this. Oh, it's their job. No, it's their job. You'll never see that. Because we are one department serving the entire college, made up of 4 or 5 teams of people that should be working together. You should be able to ask anyone you see from IS, can I fix my mouse? And you can help me. It's a little test here. You can be my secret shoppers. They should all say, no problem, even if they're a programmer. They should find someone to take care of you. That's part of our job as customer service process. So moving away from information services to operational excellence, the OpEx team has been in existence for several years. And what we're really focusing on now is how do we map what you guys do in your departments with your help to see if there are any ways to speed up or make them more efficient. We just did one process for how to do vehicle checkouts. Sounds easy, right? Go grab a key, go drive around, put the key back. Not that easy. That process has so many loops and squiggly lines on it that it's an issue. And by the time we're done cleaning it up, we're going to save time, we're going to save money, because it'll make life easier for everyone. So we have a lot of processes that are running really well and others that need a little bit of adjustment. But the OpEx team works on that operational excellence. And they just facilitated a Arizona State Showcase Award from Arizona Quality Alliance. We won for our plagiarism detection process. And that should have been in the wave a week or two ago, I believe. And Dr. Bustamante in about 3 weeks is going to go accept that award, and the governor's giving it. It's really cool stuff. So the last thing I was going to tell you about briefly is our strategic plan. Our strategic plan is located on the employee portal. It's underneath the team sites, and it says strategic plan. Everyone has access to it. But the strategic plan is a collaborative endeavor between all of the folks at Rio to basically guide this organization forward. And the really exciting thing for me is the plan is in the process right now. We're going to revamp it over the summer, but it'll affect all of us probably by the end of this year in a very personal, direct way. Because the plan goes from very high-level strategic initiatives down through departmental actions, down to individual actions. So you will be able to say, I'm part of this department, say our technical support team, and I tune every computer so that it is energy efficient. Well, that's part of my department plan, which is part of Goal 2 sustainability. So you can see as an employee where you fit exactly in the organization without a doubt, and how you contribute to our success. So I encourage you guys to go take a look. That plan's out there. It's for everyone to take a look at. It shows you our 6 goals and all the college action plans that are here for the institution and what's guiding us forward. So I guess I don't need questions, and I'll pass that right up. But in a nutshell, thank you.